on Saturday night, September 22nd, 1906. On that evening, as some 5,000 men gathered in downtown Atlanta, a white man gets up on a soapbox, waves a headline containing news of a purported black-on-white assault, and says, "Are we going to let them do this to our white women? After them, boys," and the mob surges down Decatur Street.
I woke up somewhere around midnight, but I knew something was going on. And I came to the window, and there I saw a man strung up to the light pole. Men and boys on the street below were shooting at him till they riddled his body with bullets. About 2 hours later, rain came and sent everybody home. And that was a great blessing. And that was the beginning of the race ride in Atlanta.
This whole area along Marietta Street and Forsyth Street was an arena of the riot. The bodies, the corpses of two barbers and Henry Welch, a lame bootblack or shoeshine boy, were dragged and placed right at the base of the statue of Henry Grady during the riot.
The riot was frankly, in response to a fear of a black planet, if you will. Black women and men in Atlanta and throughout the South were making tremendous strides in a very short period of time after enslavement, after the Reconstruction era, and during Jim Crow. They were still able to make tremendous advances. So white America resulted in just outright attacks because of the fear of black enfranchisement, black economic development, black education. And then black women and men, particularly on Auburn Avenue, but in other areas of Atlanta and throughout the South, were moving forward economically.
We're standing in front of what used to be the barbershop of Alonzo Herndon, Atlanta's first black millionaire. Herndon was born a slave at the end of slavery, and then came to Atlanta, operated this barbershop right at this spot. It was the fanciest barbershop in the Southeast, and he was one of the people who other Atlantans resented because he was affluent and outspoken, because he was a black man who had achieved a great deal. He had a sense that something was going to happen on the day of the riot, and he told his workers to go home early because he just feared that something was going to happen.
Black folks were not surprised by the riot. It had been building for some time. It's important to note that black folks fought back. They knew something was coming, and black women and men had guns. They went down on the second night of the riot, they rolled down in the dark town, and they had signs saying, "Riot wanted." So the white folks saw that and said, well, you know, we might want to back on up and try another part of town.
Dogtown survived the riots, but almost a year later, when black men let their guard down, the white people came into Dogtown and burned it down. But during the riots of 1906, black men defended Dogtown with their own weapons. They surrounded Dogtown, and black men were not allowed the Klan to come into Dogtown. But almost a year later, when black people dropped their guard, the Klan came in and burned Dogtown down. So you have to understand that today, as we look at Atlanta, look at Auburn Avenue and all of the housing patterns and the business patterns today, it is a result of what happened in 1906. We should always want to know our history. We should always want to study our history because we learn from our history. If you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. It is very critical for all of us, black and white, brown, red, and yellow, to understand the history of not only Atlanta, but Georgia and America and the world. And we don't want to relive the 1906 Atlanta race riot. So understanding what happened 100 years ago will give us some insight and knowledge as to how to make sure it never happens again.
This facility sees in the course of a year hundreds of thousands of people. At the very least, we're hoping that people will leave the exhibit. They will have been exposed to this history. They will know that the 1906 Atlanta race riot occurred. And also, at the very least, they'll begin to make connections between the fact that this riot occurred in a city that was supposed to be a progressive racial city. And so we're hoping that people will leave the exhibit not only with their with the new awareness that the riot occurred, but make connections from the past to the present to understand it's not out of the realm of possibility that something as horrendous as this could happen in a city like this again.
Could it happen now? Worse could happen now. It would be a little more difficult. But let's not forget Katrina. The indifference to black life, was brought dramatically home. It was embarrassing, even to racists. It was embarrassing. You have military units in this country that can be anywhere on the planet in less than 48 hours. Anywhere on the planet. And you have folks driving down from Canada delivering water to New Orleans, and the FEMA is baffled. So could it happen now? Worse.